Hey everyone, Irix Guy here. I just wanted to talk about what defines a great watch. Now there's a lot of collectors on the market. People buy watches for different reasons, and I just wanted to go across the board within this video with several popular watch manufacturers and explain why they appeal to a watch collector. Now what you're looking at right now is my first example. This is a Baume Mercier Clasp Executives. It is indeed Swiss made. This appeals to a variety of people because you don't see as many of these on people's wrists like you do Rolex and other high-end Swiss brands. But what makes this a great watch is that you do have the very nice shiny case. It is stainless steel, but it looks as good as most white gold cases, and that's something that really makes this appealing. And then also the dial right there, you can see it's got some good looks to it. It's got bluish hands, and of course, since it is automatic, you know, you get that smooth sweeping motion. It's got a date function. It's got your one thing that's not great about this piece is the crown. It's not a screw-down crown, but of course it's not a dive watch. This is a dress watch. This watch comes with a nice leather band, and something else I'd want to point out, and this is something that one should expect on most all high-end Swiss watches, is this right here, and what you call this is a deployment clasp. So basically you never, unlike a traditional watch strap where you just, you know, kind of loop it in like a belt, to take it on and off, with this all you do is open that up. So it's really really nice. Something else that makes this watch appeal to collectors is and you can get these in fully exposed case back. This right here, you can see it's got the partially exposed case back, so you can see the heartbeat, the automatic movement of this timepiece right there. And I apologize, this keeps flapping over, but you can see it right there. You can see the movement, and that brings up another point. This example of timepiece is not a chronometer. Now, all that chronometer means is that a watch has met or exceeded a series of tests performed by the COSC, which is a private institute in Switzerland that evaluates timepieces' performance, and if they meet or exceed their criteria, then what they do, they badge that timepiece a chronometer. This is not a chronometer. This particular piece was not sent by Baume Mercier to the COSC for evaluation. So from a hardcore watch snob's perspective, this is pretty much just a toy. It doesn't have a fancy movement in it. It's just your standard ETA movement. And ETA, by the way, without going into a lot of detail, ETA makes movements for a lot of different Swiss watch manufacturers. So let's go on to the next piece here. Let me go ahead and grab it. Now this piece right here is completely different. This is a Breitling, and you'll notice the very commanding size of this piece. It's also very shiny, so this appeals to people that preferably people that have a larger wrist, that really want something that'll stand out. That's not like, oh man, are you wearing a Rolex? You know, that kind of piece. So it's something that'll stand out. This does have a screw-down crown. It's also got a chronograph function. Now, chronograph is basically a fancy way of saying stopwatch. This piece right here, as you can see, it says Breitling, and it says chronometer certifié. This is a certified chronometer by the COSC, so it met or exceeded the COSC's requirements for timekeeping. And not only is it a certified chronometer, but it's also a certified chronograph by the COSC. So you can see here, and I'll start the chronograph function by pushing that button. You can see the hands moving around now. And then right here you've got your minutes, and then down here you've got your hours, and then you got your seconds over there. Now that second hand on the left here, or second dial rather, that's going to run whether or not you're running your chronograph function. So I'm just going to stop my chronograph function, and you can see there that second hand still moving. And that's one thing. A lot of people that aren't really familiar with timepieces, and they see a Breitling and they're like, dude, that's not real, it's not even sweeping. Well, it is sweeping, but it's the dial on the left for this particular model where the seconds are. So, you know, don't confuse your second dial with your dial that's used for the chronograph function. So it's just a really great piece. Breitling's been around forever. These are something that are recognized. It's got a unidirectional bezel. This is a very recognizable piece, and it appeals to both the watch crowd that's into the quality of the movement inside. Although this is not a manufacturer movement, meaning that it was developed by Breitling, it is a movement, and I may mispronounce it, but it's got a Valjoux 7750, which is a very popular movement used among multiple Swiss watch brands. And of course Breitling went in and added their own customizations to that movement. But just a really well-respected movement, very well-respected watch brand. They've been around for a long time. I think since, let's see, I think it's probably 1884, because that's what it says on the dial. But this right here is a piece that'll definitely attract attention from both the watch crowd that wants something that's you know, that's a good size on the wrist, something that not everybody else has on their wrist, and something that has a COSC it's a certified chronometer and certified chronograph by the COSC. So just a really good piece. And you can see there, it's got your deployment clasp. Just a really nice piece. And another thing, and this is something a lot of people don't think about when they're buying a piece, is you can see there in the bracelet, those are screws. They're not the little push pins. And that's something that's a subtle thing that defines the quality of a timepiece. Because even a lot of high-end Swiss watch manufacturers use pins instead of screws. Screws are a sign of quality. So just a super piece here. And of course, Breitling makes an array of different timepieces. Their most recognized piece is probably the Navi timer. It's the big face with all the craziness on the dial. But this right here is a somewhat newer model. It's called the Super Avenger, but just a really good piece. One of my favorite pieces. But let's move on to the next. This right here is the Omega Seamaster. Now this, if you've heard of it, you've probably heard it referred to as the James Bond watch, because this is the James Bond watch. This watch right here is before the recently Omega's changed their company quite a bit. This particular watch has an ETA movement, and now it is a certified chronometer by the COSC. So you know, even though it's an ETA movement, it is certified by the COSC, and highly respected piece. It's got your unidirectional bezel. It's got your screw down crown. And I want to add the water resistance of this, as stated, is 300 meters or 1,000 feet. This thing right here, I can attest to the quality. I've taken it in hot tubs, oceans, pools, all across the world. Never sprung a leak. As far as your clasp is concerned, it has your deployment clasp, and you can then also open this other side, which I'm not going to because I actually cracked the inside of it. But you could open it another level if you need to put it over your dive suit. That's what this was designed for, was to be a dive watch. So you can put it over a dive suit. And right there it just says Omega Seamaster Professional. Really good, durable stainless steel bracelet. I've given it a lot of rough treatment. And like I was saying earlier, now this, it's using pins instead of screws. And not that that's a problem, but that is something that that Omega could have done better with this piece. But with that being said, that's a helium release valve over there if you get really deep into water diving, which I don't plan to do that. But this is a very well respected piece, and like I said, it uses ETA movement. Omega now has moved to an in-house movement, and as a result of moving to the in-house movement, Omega timepiece prices have gone through the roof. And basically all an in-house movement is that when a watchmaker hits a certain level within their company's career, they typically start making their own in-house movements. So now when you look at Omegas, you're going to see you'll see a description. It'll say, like, for example, Omega caliber 8500. That's a real popular one now in their Omega Planet Ocean line, and it's used in others as well. But yeah, just a really good, this right here is a really good piece. Also now highly collectible. You're not going to see these on everyone's wrist anymore, and you're not going to, you can't buy this new anymore. I mean, it's no longer created. They have newer variations of the Seamaster Professional, but not this particular model. So, you know, just a really good piece to have in one's collection. So let's move on to the next. And then this right here is just, oh no, it's a Rolex. I must be a big shot. Well, actually, I'm not. What this is right here, this is a, you can see it's just got a very simple design, no date function. It is stainless steel. It's got a really good shine to it, really nice case. Screw down crown. 36 millimeter in size, so it's not, you know, it doesn't have a commanding wrist presence, but it's not a tiny piece by any means either. So it's, you know, it'll stand out. It's got your oyster bracelet and the flip lock clasp, which is a newer clasp that they offer. You can see there it just does. It comes together. Nice bracelet. Again, what I was saying about quality. The this bracelet, as you can see, well, actually, I got to go over here. As you can see there's a screw. There's a screw. It uses screws. It doesn't use push pins. At the back of the case, that's their famous oyster case. Decent water resistance. Now, I wouldn't take this particular one swimming. If I was going to swim, I would probably wear a Submariner. But again, you know, I don't want a piece that everyone has on their wrist. And when you think of a Rolex, you're like, oh man, I'm cool if I have a Submariner or a let's see, what's the other one? Daytona, and that's all that people wear. So I like this because it's simple. This appeals to to a lot of watch people. Number one, it appeals to people because, oh, it's a Rolex. Yeah, whoop-de-whoop. But more importantly, it appeals to people because it's the Rolex manufactures all of their own movements. So this definitely is a certified chronometer by the COSC, and it's got their in-house movement that you know, that they manufacture themselves. So it's not an ETA movement or some other movement. And just a really good piece. And this is something like the other ones that I've shown. I don't like to collect timepieces that will not increase in value. And when you're dealing with the big three, and the big three, of course, are Breitling, Rolex, and Omega, all of which I've demoed in this video. they have annual price increases, and those annual price increases are put into place to protect the long-term value of the brand. So this piece right here that I bought, several years ago, this piece has already appreciated. So is my Omega, so is my Breitling, and so is my Baume Mercier. So typically what you can do if you get into timepiece collecting, whatever you buy, even in used condition, that's something I recommend. Check out my watch winder video. You always want to keep these in a watch winder, but even in used condition after owning for a few years, it's easy to sell these things for a profit if you wanted to on eBay, Craigslist, wherever. And that's because of the annual price increases that these big Swiss watch manufacturers put on their products. So, it's something that when you buy it, it's not like, oh, you got it on sale and then it devalues the brand. Because if they started running sales for these, you're gonna buy something, and if you decide to sell it, you may not be able to get out what you put in. But because of how strict they are with their annual increases and how you can only acquire these, well, you can acquire them on the gray market, but if you're going through authorized dealers, they're not going to discount these. I mean, when you're overseas and stuff, and that's the only place I get my timepieces, or in duty-free areas in the Caribbean and whatnot. When you get those, you're getting from an authorized dealer, and you're getting the which means that when and if you decide to sell your timepiece, it has the since you bought it from an authorized dealer, in this case they could send it to Rolex. In the Omega and Breitling case, or Baume Mercier case, they could send it to those manufacturers for service if they needed to service it. Because if you buy something on the gray market, on eBay or wherever, you run the risk of likely not getting that manufacturer's support. So people that may buy a high-end Swiss watch on the internet, and they're like, oh, that's cheap. Well, they'll say it's cheap until they get it and they can't send it back to the manufacturer for service, and they're locked into dealing with independent parties to service their timepiece. So just taking something to take into consideration there. And I mean, like I said, everybody can, and there's a lot of channels out there that talk about Swiss watch collecting, and I just wanted to give my take on it. I mean, I'm not a big timer. I've been doing this for several years, and I think it's a fun hobby. And like I said, it's something that you have that sense, that level of confidence of when and if you decided to sell one or all of your timepieces, that you'd be making a profit even in used condition. So, just a great hobby. I wouldn't consider it, some people would consider it an investment. You can look at it that way, but if you're just buying these to just put in a vault and not wear them, there's really no point, in my opinion, of having them. So I wear everything I own, but with that being said, that Omega, for example, that I showed earlier, and I'll bring it back over here. This Omega right here, and I don't talk numbers, but if I wanted to sell this in the condition it's in now, I could sell it for about 4 times what I paid for it. And that's 4 times what I paid for it in this used condition. So, excuse me. So, just a real world example there of how these timepieces can appreciate in value. So, I hope you enjoyed this video. Now, I am going to post quite a bit of videos, and welcome your feedback, and also encourage you to share this video. And if you haven't subscribed already, it's youtube.com/IrixGuy. So thanks for watching. Y'all have a good day.